Today we will be exploring the magnificent Doune Castle. This is best known for its various TV appearances, including Monty Python, Outlander, and Game of Thrones. Well, in the pilot at least. It's not the biggest or the most spectacular location, but it's bursting with old Scottish charm and character. The simplicity of the layout provides a very real insight into the lives of the privileged few many hundreds of years ago, and it's just a fun place to explore without too much walking to do. On arrival, you should get yourself the self-guided tour radio thingy. The commentary provided is actually very good and has a number of quirky extras related to the various TV shows filmed here, as well as providing excellent context to each room. After walking through the gates, you'll find yourself in the large outdoor grounds inside the castle walls. The area is very spacious and surrounded by the stone structure that is 40 feet tall at the back and almost 100 feet tall at the tower side of the yard. Now it's time to head inside, and the first room that we'll visit is the kitchen and dining room side by side. I found this a fascinating place for a few reasons. A huge fire pit area sits at one end of the kitchen, with a high ceiling that cleverly protects the rest of the room from most of the smoke produced. I wonder how well that actually worked, but it looks like a clever design. The bridge between the kitchen and the dining hall were called serving hatches, which is just a window cut into the stone where staff would have passed through all of the prepared food to be served to the dinner guests. While this room is small, it's very atmospheric with high ceilings and a towering staircase out the back that leads to guest rooms and also provides an excellent viewing platform looking back down over the dining hall. While up there, you can also check out the guest rooms, which were strategically placed to benefit from the heat generated by the kitchen below. And those old castle walls would have held that heat very well. I thought this was also very clever and a great way of dealing with a freezing Scottish winter, especially after having sat on this very breezy version of a toilet area. After descending the spiral staircase, we now head to the Great Hall. This room is very large, and the most noticeable feature is the big fire bucket that sits in the center of the room. There is no obvious way to channel the smoke from this to the outside, except for a small hole, which could not have been very effective. Between this and the kitchen, it must have been a very smoky place to live when a big event was on. Just one of the many reasons why life expectancy was much shorter back then. The exit to the Great Hall that I was most curious about led down to the cellars. I would have loved to have got down there to see what an old Scottish wine cellar was like, and if any old bottles had been left behind. Or perhaps a 700-year-old bottle of scotch. But the gates were locked and you couldn't get down there. There was another set of rooms upstairs, one with a lovely view of the outdoor courtyard. The one thing I was really hoping to do from here was to walk along the top of the guard tower, but unfortunately this section was also not accessible. So we moved on to the Lord's Hall. This room has been updated and looks like a far more formal space than the Great Hall, almost like a courtroom or an oversized office, very official looking. The double fireplaces at the end of the room are very decorative, as were the wooden panels and structure at the opposite end of the room. There you could find more than a dozen crests from the local clans hanging above the exit. And with that, we found ourselves back in the outdoor grounds of the castle, with nothing left but to explore the gift shop or try once again to get down into that damn cellar. We had to settle for the gift shop.